All right, we should probably get started.
Oh, you know something I forgot to do
Uh-oh.
was switching Wi-Fi networks. That's what I forgot to do.
Yeah, you better do that.
Or
Thanks, Scott.
No, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put my phone in airplane mode, or I'm gonna shut off the Wi-Fi at least on the phone, so that because I know that's the problem. So I'm gonna do this, and it should be fine. Especially now that Time Warner Cable upgraded my Wi-Fi, I get 30 megs down and up to 5 up. That's so ridiculous, isn't it?
What's that? The upload speed?
Yeah, even the, download speed is kind of stupid, but the upload speed is just completely ridiculous. Like 5.
Well, that's pretty good, actually. I mean,
is it?
Compared to most ISPs, yeah, they're not. They're starting to roll out more of a synchronous upload and download. For some ISPs, I believe Verizon actually has a synchronous where they both match. But most ISPs, the upload is always infinitely slower than the download, which is very frustrating for me because I do a lot of uploading with videos and things like that. So I'm on the same plan you're on, Sebastian.
I just ran mine.
I'm not on the plane. I just want to clarify this right now.
I'm at 20, or no, I'm sorry. I'm at 42 up and 38, or no, 42 down, 38 up.
That's insane. That's just that's not fair. It really isn't, because, dude, most of my time, or a good majority of my time with videos, is waiting for it to upload. So, man, that would just be like, it would almost be like you just drop it on YouTube and then it's there. I mean, that's really fast.
You should move to data.
I would share it with you if I could.
I know.
Send you a couple MBPs.
MBPSs.
No, it's pronounced.
I like that.
Where do you put your dock on your Mac? Just a quick question. Like, do you hide it? Do you?
Yes, I have the dock at the bottom of my screen, and for it to show up, I have to put my mouse at the very bottom, and it starts showing up. And as soon as I remove my mouse, it disappears. So it doesn't take any screen real estate.
Yeah, I like that, but I don't think Apple has ever gotten it right where the snappiness of the response when you put your mouse there, there's still a little delay that annoys me.
There is a very slight delay, but honestly, I never ever realized it until you told me. So thank you for ruining it for me now.
I've started putting my dock on the left side now, which I think is infinitely superior to keeping it at the bottom. Yeah, I just started.
Those are big words. That's a big claim there, Jeff.
Yeah, I never thought I would be able to live with it, but after using it, yeah, I think this is definitely, especially if you have like a widescreen monitor, if you have a second monitor, or using an iMac, I think using the left side.
Why is it better? I don't get it. Why?
I can't put my finger on why it is. It just is.
Oh, here, I have a good reason. Because I'm exactly like you, Jeff. I had it at the bottom. I have a dual monitor setup, my 13-inch MacBook Pro's monitor, and then my 27-inch Dell monitor. And I found that if I have it at the bottom and I'm doing multi-window type stuff, the dock will actually switch over to the other screen. And I looked this up on Google. It's a common issue, something Apple has not fixed yet. Hopefully, maybe it gets fixed in Yosemite. I don't know. But yeah, so I had to move it to the far right side because it doesn't do that in this instance.
Well, I think the reason for me is that when you look at a monitor, usually, well, always, unless you have it in some weird, like if you have your monitor turned vertically, you have more real estate from left to right, as opposed to up and down. Like you have less real estate looking, vertically on your monitor than you do horizontally.
Right.
So that horizontal space, you just have more room to play with, and having the dock over there, it takes less room.
Unless you make it disappear like I do.
Right, but even in that instance, like even when you do make it disappear, it's still it's just more functional to me because there is more real estate to play with when you have it on the vertical end, whereas everything's more squished when you have it at the bottom of the screen because the ratio between top to bottom, left to right is there's obviously more screen real estate going from left to right. So I think that's my reasoning, kind of subconsciously, as to why I prefer it this way.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to change my mind, but you know, it really bothers me when I'm at a coffee shop or something and I see someone next to me, they have a 13-inch or 11-inch MacBook Pro, MacBook of some sort, and so the screen is pretty small already, and they have like this gigantic dock at the bottom of the screen. I'm like, why do you do this? I'm in my head, I'm just thinking, why don't you hide it automatically? Like, it's taking so much space right now.
I could actually see you tapping someone on the shoulder and why do you do this?
Or just showing them like, hey, you know, you can hide this, and you just right click for them and show them the menu. See,
or be more dramatic. Do you have any idea what you're doing? Do you know what you're doing here? You can just hide this dock if you don't use it. I used my wife's MacBook Pro the other day, and it drove me insane. Like the thing was here, so I just changed the settings. And she didn't even realize it was gone. She figured out how to use it. She figured out it's hidden at the bottom, but she didn't even see the difference. And now it makes me happy.
Some people don't use the dock at all. Like they use launchers such as Spotlight or Alfred. But I just can never bring myself to completely eliminate the dock from my workflow.
I can't either.
It's just weird. And one thing I also use a lot is the Launchpad. I never thought I'd use that. I always thought when that came, I think it was in Lion, when Launchpad was placed in the OS 10. I just thought it was kind of stupid. Like, why would you need a like a iPad sort of launcher for your Mac? But as time has gone on, I've really grown accustomed to using Launchpad. What about you guys?
I don't use it much, to be honest. I usually, unless it's in my dock, unless the application is in my dock and I'm going to get access to it with a mouse, I usually launch everything from Alfred or Spotlight, if you don't have Alfred. Yeah. I do a command space and start typing a couple letters and launch the application from there. I find it usually much faster than going to Launchpad and swiping like the first. I mean, even in Launchpad, you have. I have one page in front of me. There is 1, 2, 3, 4 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 28 icons on this one page. It's pretty hard to find exactly what you're looking for, right away.
Yeah, and you can also, type in. You can just start typing like you would with a launcher.
Yeah, but then it's
kind of redundant.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. What about you, Cody? Do you use Launchpad?
I do sometimes if it's something I know is right on the front page and I kind of have an idea where it's at. Like GarageBand, I'll open that just because I use it so frequently. I'll usually open that from the launcher, but otherwise I'll do Command space and just hit up the Spotlight in the top right hand corner. That's not something I've done forever. That's just something I've kind of picked up in the last probably a month or two, and I've been trying to work it in my workflow. And like Sebastian said, it's really convenient actually. I tried Alfred for a little bit and I couldn't get used to it, and I'm looking forward to the enhanced Spotlight search that's coming with Yosemite.
Yeah. Oh, sorry to derail the conversation.
Yeah, and we can talk maybe a little later about some of our apps and stuff we use and on the Mac, because I think there's going to be some redundance. For example, Alfred, which replaces Spotlight.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen this reversible Lightning USB cable leaking left and right? There was so much leaks that I had to call the plumber about it. I should have kept this one for the joke section at the end. Hey, I came up with it on the fly. It was not prepared. It was live. Okay.
He's been waiting for weeks to use it.
No, it just came up. It just came up. I'm just that funny. I'm just that creative, guys. I can't help it. You have to let the creation out. You can't contain it.
Off the cuff.
Wow. Okay. Here is a guy who got 2 big cups of coffee this morning. Whew. Okay, I'm gonna sit back and calm down for a minute, regain my my calm and peacefulness, and I'm gonna let you guys go ahead. While I start pacing down a little bit.
What do you think, Jeff?
I think it's, we were kind of wrong, I think, last week. Basically, it just boiled down to us not really researching it, I guess, at least on my end. So we kind of had some things mixed up in last week's episode about this connector. But it appears that, at least from the leaks, that Apple may release a reversible USB cable. And this is reversible on the USB end of the cable. So, of course, the lightning cable, the lightning portion of it is already reversible. You can put that in anyway on your iPhone or iPad or iPod Touch. But the other end, the opposite end, has always required you to insert it into the USB port in a certain way with the Apple logo on top, I believe. So with this new purported cable, you'll be able to insert the USB end anyway. It doesn't matter. So you don't actually have to look at the cable to insert it properly. And which will be very nice.
Maybe the best thing about this is that, and that's something where we were not sure about last week, is that it's going to be, according to the leaks, it will be backward compatible. So that means you can get the new USB Lightning cable tomorrow and plug it in your 3-year-old iMac or something without any problem.
Yeah, I don't think there's any fundamental change to the technology. It was just where the actual
pins line up.
Yeah, just the little plate that is in a normal USB cable is now placed in the middle of the USB cable so that it can touch the pins inside of the computer or whatever USB device you're plugging it into, either way. So basically, so the pins can make contact either side you plug it in.
Right. You'd think they would have come up with something like this maybe 10 years ago.
I believe there was not a lightning cable, but I think there have been some third-party companies that have released reversible, just generic USB cables in the past.
Right. Well, there is one that we talked about this week on IDB that's selling 10 downs USB reversible USB Lightning cable.
Truthful, yeah.
Truthful, yeah. We have the link. Oh, here it is. Yeah, I was.
Or maybe it's truffle. Maybe it's truffle. I'm terrible at pronouncing words, but it's one of the two.
Sounds like truffle.
Truffle. So it's not. The problem is the one problem I see with this. It is not an MFI made for iPhone certified cable, so you're never really sure if it's gonna work for a while or not. But it's $10. It's a standard 1 meter, 3 feet cable, and the USB end of it is reversible. So that's pretty cool.
I think I saw a tweet or something a few days ago that said something like, "Wait a minute, they've been able to make reversible USB cables for the last 10 years and nobody's done it," and it was retweeted several times. So I've never heard of anything like this. It's obviously possible if these guys are doing it. To add a little context, I guess, to the leaks, these have been popping up for the last week or two. We've even seen boxes, packaging, right, of these cables. And something looked off about these packages, though. It didn't have the typical Apple logo. Something looks weird about the actual cable itself, too. There's only one. So on the current cable, there's a USB symbol on the top end. The end that's supposed to be on the top when you plug it in. And this one just had it on one side, so it'd be really tough to tell which way to plug it in. You know what I mean? If the logo is just on one side. So there's a few things off. And then we get this report on Sunday. Came from a retailer, Mocha. They've done a few Kickstarter, lightning cable related Kickstarter projects that have been funded. They said, we have sources at the place that actually makes these cables for Apple. They're saying no go for the iPhone 6. They have, however, shared an image with us of a new adapter that may or may not be coming. So it's just such up in the air right now. But there's a lot of smoke, I guess you could say. We just don't know how big the fire is yet.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, this really isn't that big of a deal.
It's really not.
How often do you? I know you guys don't. I probably do more than most. But how often do you plug in and unplug your lightning cables? Usually they're plugged into whatever source, maybe the computer or the monitor or the wall outlet, and you just leave them there, and then you just plug your iPhone into them. I don't know. I just don't see the average person always unplugging and plugging in their USB cables.
Yeah, I don't. Mine's stationary in my MacBook, plugged into a dock, and then I've got a speaker dock that sits next to my bed that I plug into as well. I think this has been such a big deal because it's not something we've really seen before.
Right.
Like you said, there might have been some third parties, in the past that have done reversible USB cables, but I've never seen them. So this would be something kind of, pretty different than anything we've seen before.
Right. Yeah. It would be nice, but it's not like, oh man. I'm going to throw out all of my existing cables because I need to get this new reversible one. Hopefully, though, Apple improves. If they're going to improve anything, improves the durability of these things. I mean, that is my biggest beef with the Lightning cables, not the fact that I can't plug in the USB port in both ways. So
durability is a known issue with these cables, honestly.
Definitely. And it's funny though, because you get some people who are like, well, I've never had a problem with the Lightning cable. It's like, obviously there is a problem. There's tons of people on Twitter that have shared images of their frayed cables. So there's definitely an issue there. Obviously it probably does have to do with how you use the cable, but just normal usage, in my opinion, has caused issues with me. So
see, I'm one of the ones that I haven't had any issues, but it's stationary for me, like I said. So it's not something I'm plugging in or unplugging very often. But I've seen your photos, Jeff. I've seen tons of photos on Reddit, and there's a huge thread, I believe, in the Apple support community. So Sebastian's done, I think we've done a few posts on this on IDB where we've been able to just walk in, replace the Lightning cable because Apple knows it's an issue. They'll do it for free. So
for free, yeah. You're one of the people that uses those voices. Well, I've never had a problem with mine.
No. I don't even do that. Okay. No, I don't stand on a soapbox and say, "Whoa, these are fine cables," because I mean I've seen way too much evidence to the contrary.
Yeah, so go get your free Lightning cable replacement. Obviously, it's not something that's officially sanctioned, but I've done it. Sebastian's done it. Lots of people have successfully.
So this has been like, I was looking at this article on The Guardian, this UK newspaper, and they played around and figured out how much time iPhone users would be saving, new iPhone owners would be saving in a year by having a reversible USB cable. So they went on the basics of it takes about 4.5 seconds per user to get the insertion right into the USB port. So they multiplied this by the number of potential users, how many times a day, and they came to the conclusion that the reversible USB cable is going to save up 41 million hours to people in general, not to one single person, obviously, which equals to 4,600 years. So 4,600 years worth of time is going to be saved around the world among iPhone users just by switching to a reversible USB cable.
So I wonder how many per person. How much
16 minutes. They say it affects you roughly 16 minutes per user.
Per year?
Yes.
Wow.
I really have a hard time believing
no, hold on. Is it per year and multiply that by the total of seconds potentially spread across the year? 4% again for the... Yeah. So 16 minutes a year, I believe.
Really? I think I'm one of the far use cases for this. Like, I'm always unplugging I just don't see, like, maybe, like, if you look at the cable, you can see where the logo is, and then you just plug it in.
It's like that solves every problem with this. Is just look at the cable. It tells you how to plug it in.
Yeah, stop being lazy.
Maybe this is in the dark use case.
Yeah, that is true. That's annoying. Okay, well, enough about cables.
So what's the final verdict? We are going to see this, or we aren't?
I don't think so. I really don't. Yeah, I don't think so. I think we will see the new power adapters. That actually looks really good. Have you seen those power adapters?
Kind of curvy,
right?
It has a little finger.
Yeah,
not holes, but little indentions,
little notches.
Yeah,
I have a problem like getting those square adapters out of the wall socket sometimes. Like, it's sometimes like if I've been recording the podcast and I'm a little like perspiring, my hands are maybe I'm making a video and my hands are a little sweaty. I find it hard to remove the little square adapter from the wall socket. So I'm definitely looking forward to this change.
Yeah,
More ergonomic.
According to a study, it'll save you 11 minutes per year. I'm just kidding. There's no study yet.
We can make one up, though.
IDB polled 10 million users.
According to researcher at the University of Shanghai, make up some fake researcher name.
Right?
Make up some fake quotes. Yeah.
Dr. Ming Xiao.
Dr. Ming Xiao was quoted saying, "This is going to save users 11 minutes per year."
Oh, man.
Did you check out, Cody, did you check out the video that Jeff made about the touchpad keyboard for iOS 8 this weekend?
Yes, I did, and it's the whole thing is super interesting to me, right? For those, I guess, who aren't familiar with it, this is TouchPal. This is a third-party keyboard. It's in beta right now, obviously, because iOS 8 in beta. But with iOS 8's ability to install third-party keyboards, TouchPal has jumped on early, and it's sending out betas. Jeff got to check out one. And this is kind of like Swipe, right, Jeff? It's similar in that you swipe to letters and there's prediction going on.
Yeah, it is. The whole thing, like, I was just really interested on how the install process would happen. Like,
that's
that was
what
the
I thought was most interesting.
Yeah, that was by far the most interesting thing about this. Obviously, the touchpad keyboard is very nice. The ability to use swipe gestures on the keyboard is far and away superior to that of just tapping on individual keys on a glass touchscreen. But beyond that, I was really interested in just the installation process of these third-party keyboards because I had never seen it.
Right. We've seen these keyboards before, but I was anxious to see how Apple was going to implement this. It's like a weird extension, but it's just an app, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just, and I'm really interested to see how they would go forward with this, like once iOS 8 is official and developers begin releasing third-party keyboards and widgets and things of that nature. I'm really interested to see how the process will go. Right now, what basically happens is you download the app. The app will automatically place an
icon. Okay.
Well, yeah, an icon on the home screen.
Yeah.
But that app, at least in this beta version, doesn't really do anything. The thing you need to find is you need to go into the settings, general, keyboards, which is kind of weird. And then you can find the third-party keyboard section when you tap add new keyboard. So basically this app injects a third-party keyboard into the keyboard settings in the settings app. And from there, you can tap on the third-party keyboard, TouchPal, and that will become available in your list of keyboards. So you hit that little world icon on your keyboard. I've said keyboard like a million times already. And then you will be able to select TouchPal from your list. So you can select, English keyboard, emoji, and then TouchPal. So I just thought it was interesting the way the installation went, like that there is an app icon on the screen. And I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. What happens when you tap that app? Does just like an about screen come up or something?
Yeah, it's just for now. And this is obviously, beta, it's, subject to change. But I was thinking that these apps could be used to customize the keyboard in some way. But I don't know. That's just speculation right now. Like maybe customize the colors, just customize the color of the swipe.
Definitely. I was just thinking the other day, like there's someone is gonna make a ton of money selling pink keyboards and stuff like that on the App Store. I'm serious. Anyway,
Yeah,
that's a parenthesis.
Yeah. So I just think like maybe the app, because like otherwise you would have all these app icons on your screen from all these keyboards that really don't do anything. They're just kind of like worthless, and then you would just take them and throw them in a folder somewhere, never to be opened again. So it seems kind of weird to me that that you actually download an app, and then that app basically is just a means to inject the keyboard into the keyboard
Settings,
preferences.
yeah.
Okay, playing with touchpad right now, I just realized a feature that I hadn't realized before. I don't know if if you figured it out, Jeff. You know how QuickType, Apple's iOS 8 keyboard, it offers 3 suggestions at the top always when you start typing, and you can tap on them. And really, if the suggestions are good enough, you could type a whole book without actually typing a key, but just typing the suggestions, right?
Yeah.
Touchpad does the same thing. It offers, if you, like, for example, I'm going to start a new sentence. I'm going to swipe. I'm going to say, I'm going to start my sentence by saying this. So I'm going to swipe this. Okay, that's my word. So I'm going to select it, this, and then I have 3 options. So I'm going to say, my options are year, or is, or was. So I'm going to say is. This is the first time in a while. I mean, I can type. I don't even have to swipe. It just offers a bunch of suggestions, just like QuickType. And I'm not sure if it's part of QuickType, or I'm not sure if it's part of.
No, it's that's how touchpad works.
Did you realize, like, I mean, you saw the suggestions, but did you realize you could just go on with the suggestions forever, just like you can with QuickType?
Yeah.
Okay, I just figured this out.
I believe touchpad was like that. I think QuickType is sort of like I won't say a ripoff, but I mean, this is obviously influenced by other keyboards that have done this before.
Okay, I'm actually very positively surprised about this. This is kind of cool. Because that's one of my favorite features of QuickType, really, that how it can predict your answers.
Yeah.
What I like about QuickType, though, it's context aware. So it knows, like, if you receive a text message and your wife says, "Do you want to go out to dinner tonight?" Well, QuickType is going to say, it's going to suggest automatically yes, no, or maybe. Because it knows it's a question that might be answered by yes or no. So I don't know if QuickType, I don't know if touchpad will be able to do the same thing.
I don't know about that, but I know that touchpad has had this like QuickType-esque feature before. And one of the nice things about QuickType is that not only will it, is it context aware, it knows like you said, yes, no, maybe, responding to a question, but it also changes the language it uses depending on the type of the contact. For instance, if you're replying to a friend, just a buddy, or if you're replying to a work colleague, it will use more appropriate language for work as opposed to just talking to a buddy. So that's pretty cool as well. It's pretty smart.
Yeah, that's smart.
Little feature. So I like it a lot. I like touchpad a lot, and I'm just so excited to finally have a logical method of inputting text on iOS, because the method we have now is just ridiculous and it makes no sense.
Are you that much faster on touchpad than you are just normally typing out?
I think so, yeah. And it's less fatigue with your fingers. Like, there's less hand fatigue.
It definitely feels more efficient, right?
It's extremely.
It feels like something better for, again, I'm bringing it up, but texting and driving, or texting and walking. You're texting and walking, and you can replace walking by driving. But you're texting and walking, it's not always very convenient. Here, you don't really have to look at the keyboard. You can be very approximative, and it's going to figure it out. Now, something I've found with touchpad is that sometimes I have to stop and look at the keyboard. Really stare at the keyboard to figure out where my next letter is. And it's being hidden by my thumb or something. So sometimes I'm like, where is this letter? I forgot where it is. So I remove the thumb of the screen, and then touchpad sees it as the end of the word. So it inserts a space. So that's a little, I don't know. I guess it's getting used to the keyboard and the swipe thing, but overall it works pretty good. I like you mentioned in your post, it's in alpha testing, so it is a little shaky,
right?
But honestly, for an alpha product, it works pretty darn good to me.
Yeah. And I just think fundamentally this is a much superior way to type on a touchscreen. We've talked about this before, but I really think this is such like iPhone users are really going to be enlightened by how much better it is, because the majority of them, haven't switched to Android, haven't used Swipe, have no idea that, it's, about this typing experience. So I think this is going to be a huge feature for iOS users, and one that hopefully a lot will adopt, because it is superior to me.
And the thing is, you don't have to swipe either. You can just use the keyboard and type like you normally do.
Yeah, it's totally up to you. So if you don't feel like swiping, I mean, swiping doesn't work for everything. Like, for instance, typing the word I download blog, you're not going to be able to swipe and
or a password,
right? Yeah, or a password, exactly. So, this is the best of both worlds, having this. And I'm not sure if TouchPal may not even be the best third-party keyboard solution for swiping. There's other swipe solutions out there like Nintype, and then there's the official Swipe. So just to have the option to switch between these keyboards is awesome, and it's probably my most anticipated iOS 8 feature.
I'm just wondering about this install process, though. Are we really going to have folders full of these app icons? I mean, even if they do, maybe do a few things like allow you to customize colors and maybe sensitivity, things like that. I'm still going. I mean, if I have 5 or 6 or 10 of these installed, I'm gonna have a folder that just says keyboards on it.
Yeah, but you're probably not gonna get like 10 of them installed.
And I was thinking maybe the Apple could take the route of like allowing you to install a keyboard using the app, and then you can delete the app yet keep the keyboard.
That's what I was
extension.
wondering, actually. I have that question in my notes here. I was going to ask you if you noticed that you can delete the app and the keyboard stays.
No, like right now, if you do that, the keyboard goes away.
But then how would you uninstall it at that point too? I don't feel like that's intuitive for users to uninstall a keyboard if the app's gone.
You would just go into the settings and then just swipe on it.
I think
swipe to delete. Maybe.
I think keeping the icon is the best way. It's the best way for people to remember, because not everybody is as tech savvy as we are. And you want people to remember they have this on their device. You don't want them to forget about it. You want it to be obvious for them how it works. So if you install the keyboard and there is no indication that it's being installed or anything, and then you forget about it, and you never really know you have a keyboard until you go into the keyboard settings, I think it would be very confusing for some people. Adding the icon and leaving the icon removes this confusion. Now you know you typed something. You downloaded a keyboard.
I think there's a better way to do it. Like, I really don't think this is the best way, and it may not even turn out to be the final way that Apple implements it. Like, at the end of the day, they may just have a section, in the main settings app. Like, they could take keyboards out of general and place it front and center, right, above notifications, or right, above wallpaper or Touch ID and passcode, and just make it really obvious that there's a keyboard section. And maybe when you open the settings app, it'll glisten like, when you install apps on the Mac, you see that little fairy dust stuff that happens. Maybe they'll do something like that to let you know, hey, you just installed a keyboard, and you need to go into the settings to configure it. I agree with Cody. I don't think it's the best way to handle extensions and widgets and keyboards by just throwing tons of app icons that are never used, unless those app icons somehow become like a front for the settings, or they link directly to the settings for the keyboard. I still don't really even buy that. But
maybe this is how you introduce it to the general public, though, because, I mean, you have to think there are over 500 million iOS users out there, and they range, I mean, in their experience and their tech savviness. That's just such a broad spectrum. How do you address all of them at once? Maybe the icon way is the best way to introduce it to them. Yeah. I don't know. It's tough to call.
I see Sebastian's point for sure. Like, I mean, the average user is not going to know, hey, I need to go into the keyboard section. But that's the whole point of, like I was saying, pulling the keyboards from,
under
the general and all that, and just making it front and center in the settings. But
here's my big question. How much are these things going to cost? Are we talking $1.99 or are we talking $10? This is kind of a big deal.
There's no way it's
in terms of
$10.
In terms of functionality, in terms of, you know what I mean? Like, this is system wide. This is your new keyboard. I could see them charging $9.99 for a good like swipe or something.
Maybe. I don't know.
Or maybe $4.99 is the hot. I just don't think these things go for 99 cents. I mean, there's too much cost that goes into this for them to sell these for $1.
I don't know. If you want to convince my mom to buy a keyboard, I don't think you should price it at $10.
That's probably true. I don't know. That's another thing I'm interested to see. Install process and pricing, I think, are two most intriguing things about this to me.
One other thing I was worried, or not worried, but interested in is widgets. Have you guys, I know we won't make this a whole iOS 8 discussion, but have you seen any apps thus far or any kind of beta apps or anything that actually allow you to inject a widget into Notification Center, add a new widget? Yeah, I haven't either.
I've seen it on Yosemite.
Yeah. But
it's interesting there. Anyways, I'm sorry, go ahead.
But the way I understand it is that these widgets will be, can be injected directly from the app itself. So like you download, 1Password app, and then in 1Password, you can tap a button that says, hey, I want to use this widget. Or once you download the 1Password app, the widget just automatically becomes an option when you go into the edit in Notification Center.
Or there's probably maybe a pop-up when you launch whatever app, ESPN. Just like ESPN would like to send you notifications, ESPN would like to have access to your contacts, calendars. ESPN would like to put a widget on the lock screen.
That's becoming way too much. That's another beef I kind of have.
Well, no, it's not, because it asks you once and that's it per application. So if you're gonna restore your iPhone every other day, like you probably do, Jeff, then and reinstall. I mean, I'm not teasing or anything. And you probably restore your iPhone more often than most people, and then you reinstall application, and then yes, you have to agree to all of this stuff again. And especially like if you install 10 applications, you're going to have to agree to a lot of stuff, but it's a one-off. It's a one-time.
There has to be a better way, though. What I'm suggesting that Apple does is once you launch an app initially, they present one pop-up with toggles for every option that you want to enable or disable. Instead of hitting you here and then, okay, you want this installed? You want this enabled? Tap OK. Okay, pop up something again. Do you want this enabled? All right. No, you don't want it? Tap no. Pops up something again. Why not just have it all done in one little window that pops up one time, and then you can toggle on or off the options you want? And that way, if you accidentally tap enable for something you want disabled, you can quickly toggle that back off and then confirm. Get your final confirmation instead of having all these windows popping up, which is extremely annoying to me. There should just be one where you can toggle all the features such as privacy, location, notifications, widgets, etc.
I mean, yes, I see your point, and yeah, that'd be fine, but not all applications take advantage of all the resources on your phone. So an application might just be asking permission for the calendar,
right,
and that's it. So you're gonna have like a whole page with just one thing.
No, just not one page, just one single pop-up. Okay, you only want calendar access. Well, the pop-up will be, it'll be sized to present to you that one option. You want to access this app wants to access calendar. Well, there's just one toggle for the calendar, and you tap it on or off, and then you hit confirm, and that's it. If it wants to present two options, location and calendar, well, it puts location there as well. But the thing is, you're not getting these continuous pop-ups throughout, and then you just take care of everything in one fell swoop.
Yeah. For the sake of clarity for average users, I think the way it's going right now is pretty good. Especially they have now apps are very straightforward about it and proactive. Proactive is more the word I'm looking for already. They're going to say, especially if it's a game or something like this, they're going to have a splash screen saying, hey, we're gonna ask access to your calendar, and we are doing this because we want to do this and that, whatever they want. And you click OK, and then you have the official iOS pop-up saying this app is requesting access to your calendar. And then you click OK or cancel, but you've been educated before. And then, you go maybe to another screen saying, now we're going to ask access to your microphone. This is so we can record whatever you're saying when you want to type, I don't know, something. And it explains exactly what it's doing. And then you have the official iOS pop-up saying, do you want this app to access your microphone?
Right. And I think it's, most apps don't do that, right?
A lot of apps don't, no. But I've noticed more and more are doing it though. And I've it's the first time you launch the application.
But that's even more annoying,
and I think it's really
because you get even more pop-ups. If you get two of them,
but then you understand what you're doing, and Jeff, people will tap on anything they see on the screen as quick as possible to get rid of it. And I know it firsthand because every day I receive emails from people saying, I'm receiving pop-up spam on my Mac from iDownload blog. I never requested this. And they're talking about push notifications that they subscribed to when the pop-up showed up. But people, they just click OK to whatever they see on the screen to get rid of it and go to the screen they want to see. And I think that's exactly the same with app installs and permissions for different features on iOS. I think it's the same. Like people tap, and I've been, I got caught into it before too on iOS when I set up a new app or something. I just want to go quickly through it, and I tap like everything and then sometimes like, oh, I typed the wrong thing. I didn't want this. I wanted cancel, or I wanted OK, and I hit cancel. But I think for the sake of clarity, this is the best thing.
Right, but what I'm saying is that I understand where you're coming from, but to your point, if you had the ability to have one screen and you could toggle on or off a certain feature, that would eliminate the whole issue of, I accidentally tapped enable. I didn't mean to do that. Well, now you actually can toggle your sections on one screen, and then you have all your permissions set up one time, and then you can hit enable. And I agree that, yes, it is nice that developers explain how things are what an app uses. I think Instagram does that. It says, well, now we want to access your camera. All right. So on the next pop-up, please select OK. Well, that's just very clunky, the way that goes about. Like, that's not the most optimum way of presenting how permissions are working. Like, it's just, there's way too many pop-ups. And when you first use an app, you have to go through 5 or 6 pop-ups just to get to the app, and you just want to use it. And I think that makes users want to just speed through it even faster because there's all these pop-ups that they're inundated with. I don't know. I just feel really strongly that this needs to change because it's going to the point where we're going to have 10, 20 pop-ups after a while to even use an app. Apple's adding all these new sensors and things on the new hardware. It's going to get to the point where we're going to have to acknowledge 10 pop-up windows before we're able to use an app. Anyway, soapbox off.
Yeah.
Wow. That was an intense back and forth.
Cody was like, okay, I'm going to sit back, relax, enjoy.
Yeah, that was intense. Anyways.
Well, talking about something that's probably going to make things even more intense. Let's talk about this protruding camera that we see on these iPhone 6 leaks.
I love it. I wish it stuck out a little more so that you can use it as a tripod for the
even like a full inch, just like a full lens. So I get maybe some zoom in there with it.
There was a comment on IDB on one of his posts that made me really laugh. This guy was like, well, at least now you don't have to buy a, what's it called? Crap, what is it called?
I have like 3 of them laying right here.
No, the lens, like the auto clip. You don't have to buy an auto clip anymore. It's integrated in the phone. That made me laugh. But more seriously. So there's been talks and rumors that the iPhone 6. Both models will have a protruding camera, just like the iPod Touch 5th generation has. Over the weekend or 3 days ago, iGen, a French blog, a French publication, posted some screenshots supposedly from inside Foxconn factory screenshots for their computers that show the different models, the two different iPhone models, iPhone 6, and how much their cameras would be sticking out of the back panel. For the 5.5-inch phone, apparently the camera will stick out by 0.67 millimeter, and for the 4.7-inch screen, it would be 0.77 millimeter, so almost a millimeter here. We've also seen some dummy units, some rumored to be real iPhone 5 casings. We don't know if they're real or not. That actually show the camera protruding. So what do you guys think? I mean, obviously you can't be really happy about that.
And it's just a matter, I think, at this point of whether you believe the rumor or not.
Yeah, that seems to be more the question.
And whether you believe, I mean, again, we've seen leaks. We've seen leaks with it. We've seen leaks without it. I just have the hardest time in the world believing that Johnny Ive and his crack team, who are responsible with making some of probably the most beautiful electronic devices this century, just got done with the iPhone 6, according to the leaks, with these huge antenna breaks and this protruding camera and said, we did it. This is it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see them having that aha moment, and I don't see other executives signing off on something that looks so sloppy. Now, with that being said, because you have to remember these leaks are just really rough, beat up parts, right? They're not the final they don't have that final Apple polish on it. So Apple could release something that maybe has thicker than usual antenna breaks and maybe has a protruding camera, but it's got a silver ring around it. They've figured out a way to make it look great. But just judging by these leaks, I just can't see that happening. It's a possibility, but it's tough for me to buy.
Well, the thing that scares me is that I am holding a 5th generation iPod Touch in my hand right now, and it has
the protruding
camera ring, and it was designed by Johnny Ive, and he did greenlight this, and the executives did say, okay, go with it, and yes, it's final. So that is scary. I just think it's so ugly, and I think the iPod Touch is really, really terrible looking. The back of it is ugly. Like, you have, not only do you have this ring, but then you have this little, I guess, the spot for the I don't know what that's for. There's some like little black thing that's always on the iPod Touches, I guess, for the antenna, the Wi-Fi antenna. And then below that, you have that little nub for the lanyard that you use. It's just a horrible looking device, and it saddens me that this is this is looking more and more likely that we will have not only the ugly antenna breaks, but you'll have this terrible camera that protrudes out the back of the device and makes the device not able to sit flush on the desk, which it kind of rocks. Like, my iPod Touch rocks when I'm sitting it down because of that little protruding camera. I hope this isn't the final thing. I hope this is, maybe smoke and mirrors, but the more and more leaks we see, the more likely it looks like it'll be that Apple does release an iPhone with the protruding camera, which is kind of sad.
Yeah, you're right, exactly. The one hole in my theory was the iPod Touch that is obviously very real. I wonder, though, what's the sentiment inside Apple regarding that iPod Touch? I mean, they haven't changed it. It's not like they came out with a different one that has a flush camera, so nobody obviously hates it that bad, but I just can't imagine people giving each other high fives like, yeah, this looks sweet. I feel like they maybe made a compromise for functionality, for a camera, whatever the reason, and I have the hardest time seeing them do that with their phone line, the iPhone line. Their big money maker brings in half of their revenue altogether, and just messing with it to that extent. I don't know. Maybe they don't see it as that big of an issue. They're like, oh yeah, it has a protruding camera lens. It'll still sell billions. So what do you think, Sebastian? You've been kind of quiet on this.
What do I think?
Real or not real, I guess, is the big, huge question.
I don't know. I'm not excited about it But if it's the price to pay to have some amazing new improvement to the iPhone camera, then maybe I'm cool with it. Now, if they come up on September 9 and say, we had the same camera, but better software for better images, I'll call BS. I don't want to have a sticking camera if it's really the exact same camera and you have software do the heavy lifting in the back. So that's my point. That's my point of view. I don't know if it's real. It sure looks like it is. I can hardly believe that the design team and even Johnny Ive would have signed off on this and say, yeah, it's okay, let's do this. It's just, to me, there has to be some amazing upside to this to warrant it, or else it's pretty bad, or else it's really a very bad decision, which makes you wonder what kind of other bad decisions are they going to make. That's it.
I like your theory on if this is real, then maybe it's a compromise they're willing to make for some huge bump in camera performance. I like that take, because you're right. I would totally trade this for this. And in fact, in all honesty, I'll trade the protruding camera for the larger display and, whatever other benefits come with the iPhone 6. I'll happily make that trade. I won't like it, but I'll be fine with making that compromise. I'm hoping, though, if it is real, it has something to do with camera performance, because while my iPhone takes great pictures, it does it up close. I have to be fairly close to an object. I would like to be able to take pictures from maybe further back, and I don't know how the innards of cameras work or how that would be possible, but I'd like to see some improvement in that regard, I guess.
You basically just repeated everything I said.
Yeah, I was just kind of agreeing with you. I started off agreing with you.
No, but I know. I'm just
sorry, Cody.
No, but yeah, I mean, again, that's one of his. With all these rumor talks, you can never really tell. I mean, you can have an opinion about how you feel about it or whatever, but it's hard to tell. Yes, it's going to be it, or no, it's not going to be it. In this case, I really hope it's not going to be it unless my iPhone 6 camera is incredibly better than my iPhone 5S camera. Yeah. Anyway.
You guys want to talk about iMessage spam?
Oh, yeah. I'm dying to talk about it.
Gosh, right now. This is my part I was looking forward to the most.
Have you guys ever received iMessage spam before?
No.
What about you, Cody?
I'll raise my hand. And it's funny because in the circumstance it happened in, let's see, back in June or July, I can't remember when exactly, but I wrote a post. Some, research firm had done research. Imagine that. And they released a report saying that there was 30% spam. The iMessage spam was getting more prevalent, and there was one particular campaign that was devoted to iMessage. And not too long after I wrote about this, I received, it was like a week later, I received one of these spam messages that I'd written about. It was a link to a Ray-Ban shop. It said, I didn't recognize the number, and it was a short link, and I don't ever tap it, but it said Ray-Ban in the thing. Like, it was like real Ray-Bans, $15 or whatever. I was like, there's no way that's possible. Plus, I'd already been giving myself a heads up by writing about this article, because it talked about fake Ray-Bans, fake Coach purses, a lot of fake merchandise. And so I just deleted it, but I thought it was kind of weird and almost kind of spooky. And it came like not too long after I had actually written about this.
Did it come from a phone number or from an email address?
It came from, that's a good question. I think it was an email address, and it was numbers at an email address. It was like a phone number at an email address. And
which account did it go to on your device? Did it go to your email or your phone number?
I didn't look at that either. I have 4 iMessage things turned on for phone number and then 3 email addresses. I need to tone that down. But I didn't see which account it went to, honestly. It didn't go to my iMac, though, or not my iMac, my MacBook. So it would have to be one of my personal ones, not my IDB one. So I don't know. It was weird. I just deleted it, and I've never seen anything like that, and I haven't seen anything since. But it matches up with everything I saw in that post, and then it's become a hot topic again recently, right? There's been reports of it.
Apparently, iMessage spam accounts for 30% of all mobile spam messaging.
And there's like 10 mobile spam messages a year.
No, but when you think about it, it kind of makes sense because it's much easier to collect an email address from someone than it is to collect a phone number. And a lot of iMessage accounts are tied to an email address, be it your Apple ID or maybe your iCloud email address or what. I mean, a lot of people just use email, and it's much easier to find an email address online than it is to find a phone number.
Right.
So, I mean, that kind of makes sense to me. And the whole system makes it even easier for people to mass send iMessage versus mass sending messages to an Android device, for example, to a phone number on an Android device. You know, like how are you going to? I mean, you can do it, but it's a little more. It's not as easy, I would think.
Right, because you could just get a mailing list, and a spammer could sell you a block of addresses. You just take all those addresses and just funnel them directly into iMessage, and whatever happens to stick, it sticks. Okay, good. Whatever doesn't, no big deal. But you just mass spam out just like that.
Yeah.
Well, think of how problematic email spam is. I mean, we have our own folders these days devoted to this is spam or this is junk. If it's that easy, I have to assume it's about that easy for iMessage. I don't know. I don't know how you stop this if you're Apple. I don't know how you put up a block. And I mean, you can report them. There's a method.
You can report them, but it's very not complicated, but it's very cumbersome to report to Apple some spam. This is what you have to do. You have to send an email to imessage.spam@icloud.com. So you have to send an email. In this email, you have to have a screenshot of the spammy message. You have to add the email address or phone number of the spammer. And you have to write down the date and time the spam message was received. I mean, you could hardly make this more complicated. It's just not. You should have a one button that you hit that says report this as spam and done, and that's it. That's how first it should be handled. Apple should probably also put some breaks on how quickly a registered iMessage email address can send messages, because I assume these spammers just send hundreds or maybe even thousands of messages per minute. Like they run a script and it just sends like tons of them. They're not going to send one message per minute. I mean, that would kind of kill
Not efficient, yeah.
That wouldn't be efficient at all for them. They might as well do it manually from there, So Apple could say, hey, you can't send more than 10 messages in 10 seconds. Or I don't know, there's probably some fine line or some numbers you can work out here to say, hey, this is what we consider spam, or we don't even say it. You don't say it publicly, but in the back, in the back that in the back end, that if someone sends more than X messages per X seconds or X minutes, it's most likely a spammer, and you're gonna put a hold on it or something. I mean, that to me is the best way to do it. And then there is the BlackBerry way to do it, which is probably even better. To be able to receive BlackBerry messages from someone, you have to accept this person as a contact or as a friend or whatever you want to call it. So it's kind of like Facebook messages. To receive Facebook messages, you have to be friends, or else it goes to a different inbox that you're probably never going to see. So it's the same way. Like, say, you would say, hey, Cody is asking permission to send you iMessages. Do you agree? Do you accept? Yes or no? And that's it. And then you're a safe contact.
Oh, I kind of like that idea. Yeah, that's how
I really like that idea, but then Jeff is going to complain that it's going to be one more pop-up on the screen asking for. But I think I like this idea better because you're really in control of who's texting you. Because sometimes I receive iMessages and they're not spam, but they're not from people I want to hear. I want to hear about. They're not spam, but they're not either. I don't want these people to contact me directly to my phone. Like, it feels so personal. Receiving, it's what's funny about it. Like, receiving spam in your email inbox is, it's just the way it is. But receiving spam on your mobile device, on your phone, it feels so much more personal. I mean, I've never received any, but I can't imagine how violated I would feel. I'd be like, oh my God, they found me just right here, right there where I am. They were able to reach me. And I don't like this idea. But we do have a post on IDB if you've been receiving iMessage spam, a few things you can do. And there's no, like I say in this post, there is no 100% guaranteed solution. It's just mainly workarounds. But if you've been inundated by spam messages, iMessage, you might want to check it out. I know a couple of people were saying that, I think like this one guy was saying his wife or his girlfriend had to turn off iMessage altogether because it was just getting insane.
Wow.
So she turned off iMessage and she can still send text messages to people, but no more iMessage. It was so bad that she had to do this. So it is real. It is a real problem. Those screenshots because I looked on Twitter for a bunch of screenshots for iMessage spam, and these iMessage spams are so bad. I mean, like, if you wanted to yell, "This is spam," you wouldn't do any better than that. Why don't they make it more subtle, more, I don't know, just a little cleaner maybe? So it's more enticing to click on it, because when I see this, like, Italian-made Ray-Bans, Oakley sunglasses, last day clearance before summer, 90% off, it sounds very spammy.
I've always wondered that, though, about, I mean, any kind of spam, right? You get in your email and you get the terrible worded letter, supposedly from a prince that needs your help to transport a bunch of money out of the country. And it's just so poorly worded. You're like, there's no way I'm going to fall for this. Like, you almost feel they're dumb for trying.
Yeah. Well, if they're doing it, I'm sure it's probably, it probably doesn't take much to actually start. I guess it does take much if you're selling like some knockoff.
Yeah, I was
for $5 or $10. I mean, you probably have to sell a crap load of them to make money.
And that's what I'm wondering. Who's buying these things? Who's clicking on a link, a sketchy link at that in their iMessage, and it's opening this website, and who's just freely giving up money or your credit card number to this random? I can't see them making any money off of this. I don't know why they're even trying. Maybe they are. Maybe I'm naive and people are readily handing over their credit card numbers.
Who knows? Anyway,
guys, I just got a sweet deal on Ray-Bans. $15. They're normally like $150. We got to get on this before this deal expires.
Do you guys still have your iPhone 5?
Yes.
No, my wife does.
Jeff,
I don't.
Your wife does?
And she's not eligible, by the way.
Oh, yeah, because I was going to talk about this new battery replacement program that Apple started on Friday. Apparently, the company is acknowledging that some iPhone 5 devices may suddenly experience shorter battery life or need to be charged more frequently. Basically, they're saying some iPhone 5 that we sold have battery problems, and they are offering to replace the batteries on these devices. So what you can do is you can go to a specific page on Apple's website, and we'll have the link in the show notes, and you enter the serial number of your iPhone, and it's going to tell you if you're eligible or not. I checked it out, and I am eligible for battery replacement, even though I never really noticed any problem on my iPhone 5. So I'm not sure I'm going to take advantage of it, really. Cody, did you check? Did you check if
I
you're
haven't
eligible?
checked, and I need to because I still have my iPhone 5. I actually use it as like my testing device. It currently has iOS 8 on it. I've noticed that, and I guess I'm not sure what the official standby time is supposed to be, but standby on this thing is only a couple of days with like no usage. So I feel like there's a problem there, and I feel like I need to. Do either of you know off the top of your head what standby time should be for a phone? I mean, because keep in mind, this is a test device, so I don't have a SIM card in it. It might be connected to Wi-Fi, but I mean, it's just the screen's never on. I'm never using it, and it literally only lasts a couple of days. I don't feel like that's right.
You know, when I don't use same as you, I use my iPhone 5 as a test device for iOS 8 right now. And when I don't use it, I put it in airplane mode, or else I notice it goes down pretty quickly, which might be because of iOS 8.
I mean, it's a beta, so that could definitely...
It's a beta, so they're sending a bunch of information back to Apple. So, yeah, right now, for example, it's in front of me. I'm not using it. It's in airplane mode.
Right.
And it's been on my desk. We're on Monday. It's been here since at least Friday. And I don't know exactly. I don't have the battery percentage on, but it looks like it's at least 70% or something.
At least what percent?
I would say 70%. I'm going to put battery percentage on 76%. Okay. So last time I charged it was maybe Friday or maybe Thursday. Okay.
Well, maybe mine's not too different from that because I don't put mine in airplane mode, and it might be burning just a little faster than that. So maybe mine's normal. I don't know. It still might behoove me to check it out.
Yeah, so if you have a problem, and again, it's only iPhone 5s, so it doesn't apply to the iPhone 4, 4S, or iPhone 5S, it's only iPhone 5, and there are devices that have been sold between September 2012 and January 2013. So again, you can go to the website, we'll have the link, you enter your serial number, and it's going to say, yes, you are eligible, or no, you are not, and if you are, you can make an appointment with an Apple store and get your battery replaced, or you can contact an Apple authorized service provider in your area to get this fixed free of charge, obviously.
iPhone 5, didn't they have like a home button issue too? Or was it power button?
Power button.
That was the power button. Yeah, that was
Still
the power
need to get
button.
that fixed on my wife's phone.
Yeah.
I have to actually hold the iPhone and press it up against a piece of furniture to get it to turn off.
Wow.
It's pretty bad.
That sounds pretty...
Is this poor design by Apple? Or I remember there being a lot of production issues with Foxconn and just production issues in terms of the iPhone 5 because it was thinner and it used this machine. I mean, it was very precise in the production. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I remember there being issues. So I wonder why this... I can't remember the last time I saw an iPhone with this many issues that Apple's willing to fix because they know it's on their end.
Don't know.
You guys want to jump to the best apps for learning a new language?
Should we even talk about that? Or should we just
I'm kind of
skip it?
mad about that.
Oh, okay, I'm kind of
You
mad
guys are
too.
meh?
I'm just gonna say Duolingo, and that's it.
That seems to be the consensus in the comments of this post. I guess we have to mention it now. Lori wrote, like she always does, this great write-up on the best apps, iOS apps for learning a language. Duolingo seems to be the fan favorite because one, it's free, and two, I think it's really easy to use. We bought into Rosetta Stone like a year or two ago, and it's sitting, that whole package is sitting right next to my guitar and all the other things I want to do with my...
and your Pebble.
and my Pebble. All the other things I want to learn and do with my free time. Yeah, so I don't know.
And your app.
Did you get a deal on the Rosetta Stone program, or why did you buy this?
Well, she bought it because she wanted to learn Spanish. And I was like, yeah, I'd love to learn Spanish as well. And I think we've opened up looked at one lesson, and it's just kind of went back on the shelf. But yeah, I think we got a deal on it.
Well, you did actually use it and learn, because when I asked you if you were ready for the podcast, how did you reply? You said C.
Well, that's more of a product of me living in Texas for so long. And I did take Spanish in like high school. But yes, it'd be nice to be more fluent, or just to know a second language at all.
Yeah.
So anyways, but yeah, we can jump past that because people can just look at these apps and check them out themselves.
Duolingo is a fun app that I actually use every once in a while. My mom uses it. to learn English. My wife uses it to learn French.
So your wife isn't French?
No, she's
I've
not
always
French
wondered
at
that.
all.
Okay.
No, she is American. She doesn't speak much French at all. Yep. Well, this takes us to the question of the week. It's the question we ask every week.
We keep saying this section needs a theme song, but I don't.
You like it? Get on your feet.
Sing it, Jeff.
Twirl around, twirl around. Okay.
It's the question of the week. Dun, dun.
Hi, I'm your host, Bob Barker. That didn't sound anything like Bob Barker.
No, it didn't at all.
Who's Bob Barker?
Who's Bob Barker?
What?
That's game show royalty right there. He did the Prices Right.
Bob Barker?
He did the Prices Right for like 40 years.
Oh, the Price is Right?
He's
Okay.
that guy.
Anyway,
Mac apps.
The question of the week is, what are your most used Mac applications? The one that you could live without, but you couldn't really live without, so you have to put them down on the show notes as part of the question of the week.
Well,
Jeff, you have a laundry list of apps.
yeah, I won't go super in depth with all of them.
And some of them, I mean, I don't really know what they do.
Okay, so I'll start off with, since you already mentioned Alfred in yours, I'll let you handle that. Alfred's one of mine. The next one is Climate, and that is a Mac menu bar app that you can get off the App Store that allows you to control your Nest. So I use that every single day. And it puts the temperature, your current temperature, in the menu bar, and you can click on it, and you can say, all right, turn the temperature down. Basically, it's just a wrapper for the web app, but it allows you to quickly access from the menu bar, and it stays logged in and all that. So it's essential to me as a Nest owner. The next one is Shiori. I've talked about that before on the podcast. That is a Pinboard app that allows you to quickly save any link to Pinboard. For instance, if you have a post open on IDB, you can just enter a keyboard shortcut. It'll pop up and it automatically populate the URL and the title, and then you can add special notes or whatever you want and save that to Pinboard. You can also use it to search all your Pinboard items using a quick keyboard shortcut, which is extremely handy.
This is available in the Mac App Store?
No, this is a free download that you can get just off the web. Just search for Shiori, Shiori. Great app, and I highly recommend it if you're a Pinboard user. Next one is HyperDoc. I'm sure most of you guys know about that, but that is the little doc application that allows you to have previews of your windows. So basically, you just hover your mouse over like the Chrome app, and it will show you a little preview window of what's open in Chrome currently. So it's just nice so you can know exactly what you're going to see when you open up Chrome, or what you're going to see when you open up Twitter or whatever app. It allows you to quickly preview those apps like you can in Windows 8 or Windows 7, whatever, one of those Windows. So highly recommend HyperDoc. That is a Mac App Store app, and it's great. The next one is GIF Brewery, and this is how I create all the GIFs on IDB animation. So this lets you take a video and make a GIF out of it, basically. Great tool. That, again, is also available in the Mac App Store. Next is Insomnia X. So this is just another one of those apps that allows you to close your MacBook lid and keep everything running, and disable the sleep when you close the lid, etc. And I believe that too is a Mac App Store app, if I'm not mistaken. And then last but not least is Daisy Disk. This is a tool available in the Mac App Store that allows you to gather a quick overview of your disk space and what's using up your space, and allows you to quickly prune your disk to, gain some storage back that may be used by arbitrary files that you no longer need, etc. So those are 7 apps that are absolutely instrumental to me on a day-to-day basis for my work. Sebastian.
Wow.
Yeah, wow.
And Daisy Disk, you said it is in the App Store?
Yeah, it's on the Mac App Store. It's great. It's a great tool. I love it. It's
I've heard about it quite a bit, and especially I've been looking into cleaning up my Mac lately and stuff, and I heard about it. So does it give you like real good information about what's eating up space? I mean, because you can go to Apple, about my Mac, about this Mac, more info, and then you have the storage tab where it shows the storage, where your storage is going. So, for example, I see audio, movies, photos, apps, backups, other.
Right.
And I have 176 gigs of other. And other is actually what takes the most room.
I think it does on most people's Macs, yeah.
And I'm like, okay, what's in other? I'm sure other, there's some system files and all that stuff, but it doesn't take 176 gigs. It just doesn't make sense to me. And I would like to find out what this other is and what I can get rid of.
Yeah, this is a great tool. It has a nice, well-designed, maybe even arguably over-designed interface that lets you really get in and see exactly what is used on your Mac. Yeah, it's a tool I use. I have to take it back. I don't use it every day because I don't need to prune my disk every day, but I do use it quite often, and it allows me to quickly see and go in and find, okay, what is using all my disk space. Like it'll actually present to you a little graph, a circular graph, and then you click on each graph point, and that will list all the files that are being used or all the folders used in that particular section. So it's just a great way to visualize what's actually being used quickly. It just makes it super efficient to go in and manage your disk.
You should do a post about this. I think some people might benefit from that.
Yeah, it's a good app. Recommend it. So check it out, man. I don't know how much it is off the top of my head, but it's definitely recommended. Probably like $10, maybe. Let me just check real quick. I hate how it doesn't tell you like your
$10.
Oh, yeah, $10. Yeah,
$9.99.
no holla. $10 no holla.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Okay, Sebastian.
I think my apps are much more boring than yours.
Yeah.
The first one I use all the time on both my Macs is Which, and Which is a replacement window switcher. You know how you do Command Tab and you can switch between open applications? Well, this is the same thing. It actually overwrites this, but it's actually much smaller. And the one reason why really I bought this app, when I switched to Mac, there was something that really bothered me. If you had, for example, two Firefox, or maybe for this example, I'm going to say Safari so that people don't throw me rocks. But if you have two Safari tabs opened, in the normal app switcher, if you do Command Tab, it's just going to show one Safari thing. And you can't really switch between the open windows easily. What Which does, it shows me every single window open on my desktop. So if I have 5 Safari windows, it's going to list all of them. And then I can quickly switch to the one I want. By going to switch and doing Command Tab, and I see everything that's opened here. And that's really the one reason why I bought this app. It does a bunch of other things, I believe, but to me this is like absolutely the best. So that's my favorite feature. I think I'm on their website. It says buy now $14. But it's also available in the App Store. So I assume the price in the App Store is the same, probably like $14. To me, it's way worth the money because I use this all the time. That's the only way I switch between windows. I don't ever do anything else. I just switch with my keyboard. So this is a godsend to me. Another one I use is Alfred, which replaces the Spotlight search. By a much smaller Spotlight search, which actually learns from your usage. So if you have, for example, 2 apps that starts with the letters S and A, such as Safari, and maybe you have another one that starts with S and A. If you use Safari more often than the other, Alfred will learn this and offer Safari first over the other one. But it's just like the search is just much faster than Spotlight, I believe. It's right there in the middle of the screen. I don't know. It just feels good.
It's so good that Apple ripped it off.
It's so good that Apple ripped it off with Spotlight search in Yosemite. So I'm curious to see what it's gonna be what it's gonna be like. But what I like also about Alfred is that I have my custom shortcuts, my custom search. For example, I have I do command tab, so that brings up the command space that brings up Alfred, like a big search bar in the middle of my screen, and I can start typing whatever I want. So if I type I don't know, like disease, it's gonna search all the stuff. What? I've got some document called discuss disease sick problem. What is that? I never knew I had a text file on my. Anyway, you can search Google from there. I have a smart search for searching IDB. So if I tap command tab and start typing IDB space any word I'm looking for, it's gonna search Google for IDB and IDB only. You can do this for any site. I have one for the Thesaurus website. I have one for the dictionary website. Obviously Google, and a bunch of custom links that I use all the time. So this is such a great time saver. Instead of going to Google and type site:idownloadblog.com space my search query, I can search IDB and only IDB from there, right there in like 2 seconds. That's, again, one of those things that's so important to me. I don't think you can get Alfred from the App Store. Huh?
You can, but it's like the dumbed down non-power pack version. That's okay. At least you could a few months ago. Maybe they removed it, but it's definitely not the version you want to get.
Okay.
Yeah.
I use Sparrow for email. It's kind of an oldie now. It feels like it's getting old, but I still really like it. I like how it allows me to put emails in different folders very quickly, usually with a right click, and then it brings up the folders, and I can put emails in each folder directly from there. I tried different apps. There's one that I tried recently. Where is it? I saw it earlier. I tried AirMail recently, and that just didn't do it for me. Like, there was like a 2-step gesture or action, whatever, to put an email in a folder, and that was to me a no-go. So I never use it again. And finally, the last one that I really use all the time too is TextExpander, which allows you to create shortcuts and fill out large parts of text with these shortcuts. So, for example, instead of having to type my whole name when my name is necessary somewhere, or when I have to type my name, I just type NNAME, and that fills out my name automatically. So same with phone number, I just type PPHONE for the fill up my phone. Same with email and a bunch of other, and tons of other keyboards, other shortcuts. A lot of them related to IDB to insert links more quickly and all that stuff.
Cody uses a exclamation point D.
For deals?
Yeah.
No, I don't have. I'd like to get something like that set up. But
you don't use TextExpander?
I don't.
Dude, what is... Oh my goodness, you probably wasted like 10,000 hours in your life.
Let's see the report.
Oh, that's right, it tells you.
Let's see the report.
I'm telling you, dude.
I know. Everybody recommends that. They recommend Alfred. I tried Alfred, and I just couldn't get it to go. You know, as I'm looking at it, though, I tried the Mac App Store version, and Jeff just said that that's not the one to go for. Maybe I'll have to look at the non-Mac App Store version.
Dude, get TextExpander, please.
Oh my goodness!
Like you probably
it saved me over 7 hours.
Jeff,
it says
I've heard you hype stuff up before.
No. This is not just something I hype up. I mean, everyone universally praises TextExpander because, like, how many times do you put the same URL in like a post on IDB? Like, you probably do that at least once a day. You use a URL to iPhone 5S or to iOS 8. Like you could easily automate that just by typing.
But getting it all
shortcut.
like creating all of these paths
Takes
or whatever,
like an hour.
But you create them on the fly. Usually I create them. I mean, the way I created them was on the fly, or the way I create them on my iPhone, because iOS has a similar function where you can have keyboard shortcuts. It's definitely not as good as TextExpander, but it does it. And by the way, they have a TextExpander app for iOS, but I find it completely useless. Now, this being said, you can do it on the fly. Like one day you're like, okay, I'm tired of typing IDB's URL all the time. Then you make a shortcut. My shortcut for IDB URL is IDB URL, and boom, it's here. My shortcut for tags is TTAG, TTAG. And then I just have to put the tag. So for example, I'm gonna type TTAG. It's gonna fill out everything except the little word. So for example, it would be iPhone-6, or maybe it would be, I don't know, iOS-8 or something. I mean, it saves me so much time. And then I have my canned email responses that I use.
No.
No, I have like, for example, like people are asking me, I receive push notifications. I never asked for this. How do I get rid of them? I have a shortcut. It's ppush, PPUSH, and then it sends them an email automatically that says, here are the instructions to remove this, to unsubscribe. I mean, I have tons of them. It's so helpful.
But you have to program them. I don't know. Like I said, people have recommended this before.
Yeah. Okay, it's gonna. You program it once. You don't have to program it all the time. Like, how many times do you type on your keyboard http://www.idownloadblog.com/tag? How many times do you do this in a week? You're gonna do this. It's gonna take you 10 seconds to set it up on TextExpander, and then you're never gonna have to type this ever again. And it also removes the potential risk of human error. When you type like URLs all the time, you're more prone to making an error than if you actually use a shortcut that's been set for this, where it works and it's always the same.
Well, here's my response to that. I type it usually once for a post, and then I'll copy idownloadblog.com/tag, and I can reuse that several times. It's not like I'm typing it every time. And I mean, I'm a fairly quick typer, so it's not like I've ever even been like, man, this is taking so long. I wish it wasn't taking so long. So I just think I feel like I would get it, because it's expensive, right? It's like $40, and I would get it and then not work it into my workflow properly, or not take the time. How many apps have been recommended to you? Like Evernote's a popular one that people like to use, and I've downloaded it and tried it.
It's different.
Yeah, it's
different.
totally different.
I mean, I see what you're saying. Okay, I understand, but you can't compare apple and oranges. You can't compare Evernote and TextExpander. Like, TextExpander is extreme productivity, and brought down to a super simple level.
It's like comparing an atom to a piece of furniture. I wasn't
comparing the two apps. It's just another one of those. People use it. They found it very useful and recommend it, and then I go and try it, and I'm not going to find it very.
Well, the thing is,
Cody, as someone who writes all day,
exactly.
There's gonna be no question that it's not gonna be like a case of like a fantastical where like, well, most people like it, everybody loves it, but I don't use a calendar, so I don't need it, or something like this. I mean, if you want,
it's like the water.
Writing is your job.
It's like drinking water, is your job. I mean, it's like the most basic form of existence. For a writer, the most basic thing is typing, like each individual character on your screen with a keyboard. Well, this allows you to easily do that for things that you repeatedly do over and over. I don't know, how many times have you linked the tag page on iDownloadBlog? Countless times, every single post. So that alone would save you time just by assigning that to a keyboard shortcut. But it's just you can't really compare this to any other app, because it's such a low level function that, everyone is required to do if they're a writer. You have to write, you have to type, and this saves you time by allowing you to type things that you repeatedly type all the time in a more efficient manner. It's just, I don't you can't even compare this to any other app, really. This is probably one of the most unique productivity apps out.
And yes, sure, it's kind of expensive. I can't maybe $40 or something, but I would pay it every month if I had to. I would pay a membership every month to use TextExpander. It's just that powerful.
You guys are
and simple. And TextExpander, to tell you what, it's one of, I think, 2 apps that get to start up on boot, to launch on startup. So when I start my Mac, it starts automatically with my Mac. That's how much I need this app.
How long have you been using it, Sebastian?
I don't know. Does it say in the stats here?
No, I mean, like, just when did you discover it?
That's what I thought it was going to say, maybe in the stats, or like when you first used it. No.
Or how did you discover it? That was
2 or 3 years, maybe.
And where did you find it? Like,
I don't remember. Maybe you talked to me about it, or maybe it was from of these tweaks that you can have for devices that have been hacked and taken advantage of. There was a hack that you could use that replicated basically TextExpander.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And Cody, there's a free trial too.
You guys are some pushy TextExpander salesmen.
No, it's what I'm not trying to sell it to you. I'm just trying to simplify your life just a little more. Dude, I have my credit card. I fill up I'm looking at some of my things here. I've got my credit cards. My credit cards. I have a bunch of what's it called? Email replies, like canned email, because we receive the same email all the time. So I have tons of them. I have specific links for tags. So, for example, for the jailbreak apps and tweaks tag, I have this for the unlock page, for the jailbreak page, for the URL, for the name of the site.
Yeah, and the really cool,
so many of them.
And the really cool thing about TextExpander is that when you can create shortcuts, but you can also make the cursor appear anywhere in that shortcut that you want it to appear. So, for instance, if you have I think tag for me is like the exclamation point and then just TG, and that creates the tag URL for IDB. But not only that, it will automatically put the cursor right between the 2 slashes after the word tag. So you can place the cursor in a customized spot, so that you're just ready to type the name of the tag right then and there, and then you can still close the end of the URL with the //. But that's one of the cool things about it, is that you have complete control over where your cursor appears after you expand the text. And that's a big deal too. I use it for like my email address. Instead of having to type out my full email address, I'll just put like, I don't know, JJ or JD or something like that. I use it for, let's see, what else do I use it for? Like sometimes you'll want to paste items from the clipboard without formatting. So I use a TextExpander shortcut for that, so I can copy some paste, and then just, instead of using Command V, I have another shortcut set up and will paste that text. I know you can do like Command Shift V to do that, but I find it easier to do it this way. I use like affiliate links. I'll do that with TextExpander. Like, the little shortcuts, the ASCII shortcuts that you can put in for the Apple logo and for like the command logo, the little logos.
Yeah.
I have those set up for TextExpander shortcuts, which is super handy, so I don't have to remember the ASCII code. Just tons of different things. Like I could not live without this. It would be so difficult to get my work done. It's the first thing I install when I install my Mac, like when I reinstall OS 10. Literally, it's the first item that I install. So, feel free to continue not being productive.
Oh man, it's been like a We're gonna get accused of having them as a sponsor.
Right. Or tell us some of the apps you use, Cody. Here, see what's.
So now I got to compete with these are the apps you picked, and you don't have TextExpander. Okay, well, it's funny because my first one is Fantastical, and if you've ever heard me discuss calendar apps, I know we've talked about it in the past. I'm not a big calendar guy. It's just I don't have like this huge family with a bunch of extracurricular events. It's just me and my girlfriend, and yeah, so I don't have all these things I need to keep track of. But the reason why this is in my top used, I guess, is that it sits up in my status bar or my menu bar on my Mac, and I can tap the icon and type in some like a reminder. And that's generally what I do. If you tell me something, I need to remember it, especially if it's for a specific date. Because it recognizes as plain text, I'll be like, hey, remind me to, blah, 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 whatever. And then, so that's actually how I keep track of reminders, because then I know I can count on it to send me an alert both on my Mac and on my iPhone when that time comes up. So like I just signed up for a free, I think 1-year account thing with Amazon, and I've set up a reminder, hey, remind me a year from now to cancel this. Otherwise you're going to start getting charged. So that's why I like Fantastical. I think this one's normally $20, but it goes on sale pretty frequently for $10. And I think I know that's how I would have gotten it in the App Store, the Mac App Store. I also use Tweetbot. I think everybody knows about that one and knows why I use it. I'm on Twitter quite often. And this, for me, honestly, I haven't tried any other Twitter clients for Mac in a long time. I probably should, because this one feels so outdated. This one's more in line with the iPad Tweetbot app, and neither have been updated to match the iPhone Tweetbot app. And so I'm kind of bummed about that. I have a lot of problems with the Tweetbot, the Mac version of Tweetbot, just in terms of not being able to scroll. It freezes. Just some different issues. So I've been meaning to try something else, but I keep hoping, I guess, that they'll update this one sooner than later. Third is Dropbox. Again, this is kind of self-explanatory. It lives in the menu bar as well, and it enables us to drop files back and forth. I mean, I don't think there's anything better than Dropbox. It's free. You get a couple gigabytes for free, and it's a good way to either store stuff online for yourself, or we have a shared folder that we kind of distribute files back and forth to. So that's another one of my first things that I install when I either get a new Mac or I do a fresh install of Mac OS 10. And then finally, I have Bartender here. I think Jeff actually informed me about this app in one of his Mac app roundups from back in the day. And it allows you to clean up your, that menu bar up there. It's just so much stuff up there. So many icons can be put up there, I guess, or can magically appear up there. So this lets you clean those up. Essentially, you can have it all the way down to just the time and maybe the date, and then have a little arrow that basically opens up another menu. You can tap that arrow, and then that'll show you your other icons. So it's just a nice way of either, whether you want to be more organized, or if you just want to clean up the look a little bit. I like that one as well. I'm still in a 4-week free trial of that one, so I'm not sure what the price is. Maybe $10, $15. But I'm surprised you don't use this, Jeff. Like I said, I think I found this in one of your posts, and you had high praise for it.
I did use it, and I just stopped because I think it would require a lot of maintenance. Because whenever you install a new app, then it means you have to go in the Bartender, you have to set that. It's useful if you just have a ton of menu bar apps, but I've cut down dramatically how many menu bar apps I use, so just decided not to go with it. I did buy it actually.
Just kind of quit using it.
Yeah.
That's understandable.
But see, that would never happen with something like TextExpander. I would never stop using that. There's just no way. It's so deeply ingrained into my everyday.
It's so funny because you're like, man, when with Bartender, you have to go in and you have to do and that's exactly how I feel about TextExpander. It sounds like the same.
Right. But it's
process.
You don't save time with Bartender. It's not saving you any time. It's just an aesthetic thing. This is actually saving you. This is money, man. I mean, time is money, right? So ultimately, this $34.99 it's probably making you much more than it costs.
I wish we could cut to video and Jeff sitting there in a purple TextExpander shirt. It says, "Ask me about TextExpander" on the back.
Cool. Well, it was nice to learn a little bit about your Mac apps habits. Besides the usual Safari kind of.
iMessage, right?
and stuff.
So I think I'm going to check out Which, because I haven't tried that. Any apps you guys are going to check out?
I might have to check out Days of Disc.
What about you, Cody?
No, not at all. I feel like that question was specifically asked to see if I'm going to try out TextExpander. Man, I don't know. Maybe I'll look into it or look. I'll look at it through squinty eyes and
free trial
skepticism. Yeah, no, I'll see what I may check out the free trial and see if if it makes me that much more productive, saves me hours a day.
Yeah.
It's not gonna save you hours. It saved me almost 8 hours in the lifetime of you being using this, which is 2 or 3 years. So it's not gonna save you.
Yeah, and just say you make $40 an hour, 8 hours. How much money is that? Okay, that's $320.
There you go.
So yeah, that's
so you're actually making money by using.
Oh my gosh, this is reaching ridiculous proportions. But no, I'll probably check it out. Yeah, let's check in next week or the one after that. We'll see.
Okay. Well, so you guys, more apps to talk about. Let's talk about some of the apps we downloaded the past week. I had just one, and it's called iFax, and it's a Mac app. And what this does is allows you to send faxes from your Mac. That's pretty much it. I just had to send a fax to my insurance company after like having a car accident or something. So I had to send them like a doctor bill, stuff like that. So it's rare that I ever have to send a fax, but in the times you do, it's always like super annoying.
It really is.
Fax machines.
Well,
so this.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
This allows you like use an in-app purchase to send a fax. I think it was like $2.
I was gonna say whenever I have to send a fax, I'm always doing this frantic search on Google of eFax, and basically you'll find a bunch of websites, and they always have limitations, right? Unless you're willing to pay money, it'll be like, yeah, send this with an ad on the cover page, or send. It's not a fun process. So I mean, you said iFax works pretty good.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Pretty streamlined.
I mean, yeah, it did the job. It's still a fax app, so it's not like something you're going to be using every day or even more than once a year. But it did the job pretty well, so I was happy. I did check out Swing Copters too. I know you guys are both going to talk about that. Terrible. And actually, I think it was just updated to fix the fact that it's absolutely unplayable.
It was impossible. Yeah, I tweeted out a picture because no joke, I downloaded the day it came out and I played it several times that night, and I guesstimate that I probably went through, because I mean it takes like 2 seconds to die and restart. So I guesstimated that I probably had played 150 times before I got to 2. Like that was my score. I made it through 2 levels of the Swinging Copter, so I tweeted that out, and unsurprisingly, I mean, people echoed my sentiment. Like I got a lot, 4 or 5 tweets back saying, yeah, that's exactly the boat I'm in. This thing is really tough to play. I eventually got to 3. I'm at 3 as my high score now. And you're right, Jeff. They did actually push out an update. I think I played it once before we got on this show, and I feel like the gaps are wider. I think like the developer made the gap wider for your bird to fly through. So it is supposed to make it easier. Cause I think he was getting a lot of reports.
It was literally impossible. Like I consider myself to be fairly competent gamer. Like Flappy Bird, I was, I could get 100 or whatever in that. This, I could not even get to 2. Like, and I played probably 50 times. And another thing that's really annoying about this game is that it takes forever to me to start over. Like it should be instant. Like when you die.
That was my problem with Flappy Bird though too. It's the same. It feels like the same exact process. It's like you die, you see your score, an ad pops up, and then you hit start, and there's like a second lag or maybe half a second lag. You're right. It does take a couple seconds, which is kind of annoying. And yeah, for those who don't know, this was is his name Dong Nguyen?
Something like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Nguyen. And he's the same guy who did Flappy Bird. And he obviously pulled Flappy Bird. He's given several reasons why. I think he just didn't like the attention. And he hasn't put Flappy Bird back in the App Store yet. He said he would. I think it's popped up on Amazon's Fire TV platform or whatever. But this is essentially the successor, or no. the successor to Flappy Bird. It made a huge splash when it launched last
Apple
Thursday.
featured it on their
And
store.
Apple featured it. I mean, this was a
That's
big
a
deal.
shame.
It really is.
And it's not. Yeah, it's really tough to play. The graphics are cute, right? It's the same with Flappy Bird. They're kind of cute, Nintendo-ish. But I'd be interested to see how much money this is making, because he was reportedly making around $50,000 a day in ad revenue with Flappy Bird. So, and this one's, I don't know about as popular. A lot of people play. I see a lot of people tweeting their scores and stuff.
Yeah, and this one the update is definitely much easier. Not only does it, like, there's a gap between the first little level that you have to get through and where you start. So that just makes it a lot easier to kind of gather your bearings. And I've already made it to 2 on this update. So it's definitely much more fine-tuned gameplay-wise. Sebastian, what did you think about Swingcopters?
I played it for 20 seconds and I felt angry. I really, really felt angry. I was like, I couldn't even figure out the controls. And I was like, if I have to Google it or ask someone on Twitter how to control this, I'm not going to do it. And I deleted the application. I felt like I felt like people.
I was really angry.
I felt taken advantage of. Like this guy was basically surfing on his popularity to release a crappy game that got tons of coverage because of his past success with Flappy Bird. And I was very upset that Apple dared featuring this app on the App Store as well, especially when you know how many great applications there are in the App Store that never surface, that people will never hear about. And then you have Apple featuring this crappy app. It's just, to me, this is revolting. This is absolutely revolting to me. I was extremely upset at this. And I still am. And I'm not going to play this game again. I'm not.
See,
Wow, dude.
Tell us how you really feel, Sebastian. See, I don't have that much hate for the game. Like, I played it. I played every day, and it's entertaining to me. It has, it's deceptively difficult. So it has the illusion that it's going to be easy, to the point where even if I die right away, I want to play the next level because I'm like, oh, it's my fault. I hit too fast. I just got to not hit so fast this time. And I'll make it through 1 or 2 loops and I'll be like, oh, I was going to go on a run. I know I was. So it has that element of addictivity. I don't know if that's how you would describe it, but for me, I don't know. It's not a bad game in my eyes. It's not a great game. It's not one I'm not going to pay the $1 to remove the ads or whatever, but it's entertaining to me and it's kind of pick up and play.
What is the little dude? What is that? Is it like a butt? Like a flying butt? It's what it looks like to me. Like
it's like I don't know. It's like a little goober with
a flying butt,
with a propeller hat. I don't know. Like I said, it's not going to win any awards. I was surprised too to see that Apple featured it, but honestly, I don't know that section is just for, hey, these are the best apps. These are the ones people are talking about, or these are the ones you're probably going to want to know about because that's what other people are talking about. And that's, to me, what that section is.
Yeah. Anyway. Alrighty. So let's move on. We got any iTunes reviews, Sebastian?
No.
No? Okay.
No. Sorry, I didn't look at them before coming here.
Well, stall for a second.
So you won't believe what happened to me yesterday.
Because I really want to know if we had any reviews.
This crazy thing happened.
You want me to look at the reviews? It's going to take me like 10 minutes to load up like iTunes.
I'm there now.
Okay, all right. So sort them by most recent.
Most recent, and here's one from, we have, there's quite a few. When was the last one we read? When's the last podcast? What's today? Today's 25th? So yep. 7 days ago? Yeah. So here's like 6 of them, 6 or 7 reviews. Here's Mixing Things. It's this by Savina. Great podcast since the beginning and has been a continuous evolution of quality on it, from the audio quality to the subjects that are, this is long, that are Delt, the sponsors between the subjects are just perfect and aims to learn new things such as with 1 month. I think I've just crossed Cody in the forums with the CSS issue. Okay. I've been following you guys since day 0 in both of your podcasts. With the addition of Cody in the podcast, it's brought new life and opinions, breaking the conversation between the two. I must tell that going underground also has brought this benefits, such as live chats and etc. This obviously isn't a native English speaker. Finally, in your last episode, you spoke about followers that are every week in the chat room, but I must say that there are a lot of people that can't go in there because of time zones or other reasons, but still keep following each episode. Thanks, IDB, for your effort for building this little community. That was really nice.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
Here's another one from Decio Aruda. He says, thank you guys for the podcast and website articles. He says, I've been basically locking myself in my home studio for this summer because I'm getting good and don't want to slack off. I'm producing EDM on Ableton Live 9 and Logic Pro 9. And your articles, as well as this podcast, are awesome. The high voice quality and good laughs make me look so stupid when someone comes in and sees me laughing tremendously loud. Your podcast is an amazing break from my work, and I love it. Cheers from Portugal. That's awesome. Thanks, DCO. I hope I pronounced your name right. Here's another one. Spectacular podcast from Liz Zoe 5. He says, this is the best podcast ever. You guys make the show funny as well as keep it on point with the tech news. Thanks for being so awesome. Keep it up. P.S. Cody, even though the Dallas Cowboys aren't the best team, I still have respect for them because I also live in Dallas. Peace. And two more to read. Here's one about the USB. One of my favorite podcasts. All these are 5 stars, by the way. He says, it's by Ritero, sorry. Keep up the good work, guys, at keeping the show informative yet laid back, since I figured that this is the easiest way to communicate with the podcast. I would like to help you with the USB 3.1 dilemma. First, USB 3.1 as a whole will support 10 gigabit per second throughput. The new cable you guys are seeing is USB 3.1 Type-C, which is a new sort of reversible connector. There's also USB Type-A connector, which is a shape of a normal-looking USB and will be backwards compatible with current ports. With regard to the iPhone cable, I believe that it fits the typical USB ports as well. I acquired all this information from a .zip file on the USB website. And last but not least, here is one. Can't live without it from All About Apple. Not only is this podcast a great source of information, it feels as if you are just listening to 3 people talking. I listen every week and I'm on IDB every day. The interface of the website is great. Keep it up, please. Wow. I think that's the most reviews we've ever had in the week span. It's pretty safe to say.
And all very, very kind. And I like these detailed ones that they talk about exactly what they like about the show. So we appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you. So if you want to review the podcast, make sure you go on iTunes and click write a review and make sure you rate us as well. Appreciate that.
Thank you. All right, guys. It looks like we hit the end of the show notes.
Which means
it's time to go make myself a sandwich.
I was thinking stupid jokes.
Oh, how could I have forget about that?
I couldn't tell if you were being for real.
No. Oh my God. I'm so mad at myself now for forgetting the stupid joke section, which arguably is my favorite section of the show. Okay.
And
how did they know the shark attack victim? Okay, let me rephrase this. How did they know the shark attack victim had dandruff?
I don't know.
They found his head and shoulders on the beach.
It's a little gruesome.
Yeah, but kind of funny. It would have worked
a little late
better
for
with
Shark Week.
Yeah.
Right. Is that something you're ever worried about, Sebastian, going surfing out there?
Not really.
Be different if he was in Australia.
What's that?
Well, are there not many shark attacks, I guess, off of that coast?
No.
Down by San Diego?
No, there were one or two a few years ago, but that was a one-off and hasn't been anything yet since.
Oh, I'd be terrified. Out there.
Do you remember that game Shark Attack where you had to hit the little button and the sharks would gobble up all the marbles? It had the little theme song. I was like, shark attack. This one is a maniac.
It sounds like Hungry Hippo.
Yeah,
though.
it was sort of like that. I think that's how it was. But we need to find that theme song. It's really good. Shark attack.
Okay, here we go. I got a bad one. What kind of bagel can fly?
A winter bagel.
A plain bagel. We've done it like 3 times, dude.
Oh my gosh, why can't I find... This is off a new website too. It's like not even where I've been at before. Okay.
Wow.
Well, yeah, wow is correct.
Wow.
What do you call a cow with no legs?
You don't call it.
Ground beef.
Yes.
Pretty good. What do you call 100 nuns in a shop? Virgin Megastore.
Wow.
Oh, Jeff has the picture of the show. Do you see? That's not yours? Tell me it's not yours.
No.
Okay. I was like, you can't have this thing ready to take a picture of like this in your living room.
Right? he runs into his dining room and takes a picture.
Yeah, I've never seen this. I must say, I've never seen it before.
Hey, I have seen this actually. This picture helped refresh my memory on what this was about.
Yeah.
It's not like little marble.
No, it
whatever,
wasn't.
though. It's little fish, and it goes around in a circle.
I think it's like you roll a dice and you try to beat the shark, and the shark's automated, and he swallows you after a while. So, yeah.
Jeff, rumor has it that Jeff has a new spider joke.
Yeah. Okay. So a spider walks into the bar and he orders a whiskey straight, hardest thing possible that you can get, whiskey neat. Bartender hands it to him. Spider takes it, looks around, throws back the shot of whiskey, slams the glass on the table, moseys on over to the window, opens the window, jumps out to his death. Why'd he do it?
Because he just lost his job.
Close, but no. There's a new tax law that prevented him from using the loophole, so therefore he's not going to make nearly as much money, and he won't be able to provide for his family now. So, yeah, he's really depressed. The whole 2014 tax law, it just really messed him up. So he's a goner.
Wow. He's a fragile guy. He's right on the edge, I guess. I don't know why these are so funny.
They are so bad. And you didn't invent this, right? That you found this somewhere online. Someone took the time to type this in.
No, I completely made that.
Oh, you did? I thought it was pretty good then.
Oh, thank you.
It's this new tax law.
Yeah.
Wow. There's several more of these to listen to if people are listening and just hearing a spider joke for the first time. There's other ones with a similar premise, but there's always a different reason why the spider kills himself. It's always very serious, human related. Definitely has nothing to do with the spider at all.
It just makes it touch home even that much more.
What's the best thing about living in Switzerland?
Chocolates.
No, I don't know, but the flag is a big plus.
Huh. Didn't I say this joke before?
I don't think so.
Huh.
I mean, I don't know, obviously, at this point.
I think
obviously I don't know either, or else I would have known the answer.
We're going to lose a lot of the listeners on that one. Especially in America, we don't know anything about geography or other countries.
Hey, 2 bacteria walk into a bar. The bartender says, "We don't serve bacteria here." And the bacteria says, "But we work here. We're staff."
Let's see here. Now everything I look at, I'm like, have we done this before? It feels like we have.
There's this one that's so stupid. It's very much like a spider joke. A polar bear, a giraffe, and a penguin walk into a bar. The bartender says, "What is this? Some kind of joke?" And that's it.
How did the man motivate the fruit to win the race?
What?
How did the man motivate the piece of fruit to win the race?
It cut Cut through it.
He kept saying, "Go, man, go."
Good one. Good one.
Have we done what time does Sean Connery get to Wimbledon?
Yes, we have, but I can't remember what it is.
Tennis.
Yeah.
I just wanted to do the Sean Connery voice.
Well, I think you did a pretty good job there, Cody.
What was that, Jeff?
Well, I think you did a pretty good job.
I'm reminded of all those SNL skits with when they're making fun of Sean Connery. Anyways. Okay, well, I'm obviously going to have to either write my own stupid jokes or
You need to get your own genre of
Look on
jokes.
a
Like I have my own
very-
patented genre of spider jokes.
man.
Need that.
Tried to take a photograph of some fog the other day, but I missed.
Ooh, nice. Awesome. Well, I wish our listeners would send us some funny jokes.
Yes.
So if you have some funny jokes, you can send them. Like you can email them tips@idownloadblog.com. You can send them on Twitter, or maybe in the comment section of this post on IDB, or maybe even as a review or something on iTunes. Anyway, just send us a good joke. We'll take it. So please do so.
We will take it.
All right, then I guess now is my time to go make myself a sandwich.
Now it's sandwich time.
What are you making?
I don't know.
He's like, it's probably not even a sandwich.
It's a whiskey sandwich. It has whiskey on it.
Anyways. Yes.
Jeff.
Right. Well, it was fun. Had a lot of fun this episode, and I guess
See,
we'll
you
be here.
came in here, Cody, being like, "Oh yeah, I don't know if we have much to talk about today. It looks like pretty light." And here we are.
Said,
You said that,
2
Cody?
hours later.
You should know better by now. Like, every time we say that.
I know. I pulled a Sebastian. Sebastian's normally the one that says
Yeah.
this does not look like very much.
Yeah, but we always end up just derailing the conversation to something else and having a great time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and being like 2 hours into it.
Yeah.
Well, there was your 30-minute
Oh, yeah.
TextExpander ad.
Yeah,
so-
and also it wasn't an ad. I guess it is sponsored by TextExpander.
In some sort. I mean, this episode is not sponsored by TextExpander, but we do like TextExpander. So we made a note of it.
An extended note.
NOTE, and that fills up my full note. That's my shortcut for note.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, all right, guys. Thanks very much for joining us today.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
And how about next week we get together and we talk about iOS again?
That sounds good. See you next week.
I think, yeah, let's do it again.
Peace. Bye.